Hey YouTube, we're back with another video on the dresser. I was going to do a little video of sanding them, but I decided not to because the power sander that we use, well, I bought to do for the Traditions rifle build, this sander makes a heap of racket, and then I was outside, and then the audio would be so low you wouldn't understand a word I said, so I just decided to go ahead and get them sanded. But they're all sanded now, well, all that I'm going to sand on them, and they've been cleaned as best as they can be cleaned, considering they survived a house fire. But anyway, they're ready for stain. And yeah, that wood's as smooth as glass. The second drawer there from the top, you notice is darker. That's just a darker piece of wood. The original finish on this thing, I believe, most likely covered the wood grain. I noticed when I sanded the top that you couldn't, after I cleaned the top and then sanded it, the finish that was on it, you couldn't actually see the wood grain through it, and you really couldn't see it through the finish on the dresser drawers. So I mean, this was not no high-end piece of furniture, so anyway, I prefer to see wood grain and all of its crazy intricate patterns as opposed to just a solid color when it comes to this kind of stuff. I did a little research online about these dressers. I never found anything particularly relating to the dresser, but some of the drawer pulls on it, I actually found a few of those online, and they were listed as Depression era drawer pulls. And you know that's actually earlier than I was thinking. I was thinking somewhere in the 40s and 50s that this thing could have been built. But the 1930s, yeah, I suppose so. And that design on it, does anybody know what that is? I don't have a clue. And also, if you line the drawers up perfectly, the lines on the that whatever that is don't exactly match up. Not sure what that's all. Well, they obviously had a pattern or something that they used in one of the drawers that was off a bit. But with the space between the drawers, you can't really tell that it's not exactly all lined up like it should be. And there's gold paint in there in that design, so we're gonna have to be kind of careful about not making it red gold or cherry colored gold. Let's see, is there anything else I need to say before we start staining? No, I don't guess there is. All right, I'll pause the video real quick and reposition the camera so y'all can see a little bit better, and then we'll get started. Okay, let's get started, YouTube. Get out of here, fly. This stain is the Sensor Cabernet. I hope I got that in the camera. I'm dripping already, damn it. I haven't even started yet and it's dripping. It's Sensor Cabernet. We've used it on several different projects, and thankfully we're about done with it. The can's about done. Okay, so let's get started here. You can do this about any way you want to do it as far as putting a stain on. I kind of prefer to do it like this right here. Yeah, I hope y'all can see that. Oh, this is actually taking the stain better than I expected. And it's actually making it look more a brownish red. I don't know how it's going to look on the camera, but in real life it looks more of a brownish red, which isn't that bad actually. I think I like it. I think our next project might be a new coffee table. We've got one in here, this old mobile home furniture. It's got the sawdust and glue particle board top. And I don't know what that's really called, but anyway, over the years and all the years that the roof here was seeping, it collected some moisture and it's now got a bow in it. We already threw out the coffee table because it had a really bad bow in it, about 3/4 of an inch, and in maybe a 4.5 foot run. So yeah, you could actually really see that shit. Yeah, well, I should have thought about this a little bit more, I think, YouTube. Yeah, well, we got it under control. Yeah, we got this under control, YouTube, I reckon. Now maybe we won't make that same mistake again. Wait, we're talking about me. I make that same mistake 2 or 3 times. By the way, I only sanded this down. You see these other woodworking videos on YouTube? They tell you sand with 300, 400 grit sandpaper. You don't have to go that fine with it. I sanded this. I started off with 80 grit to, take off all the, old damaged finish on it. And I finished it up with 150. And you see that the 150 leaves it so smooth that it hasn't even tore up a wet paper towel. So I mean, I don't know what more proof anybody would need than that. What could be softer and weaker than a wet paper towel? And it's not even tearing it up. Due to the variations in this wood, I can tell that there's probably going to be some variations in the color. Which, that one's dark, and I can see that one's not quite as dark, so to try to get them all to look fairly even, I may have to go over a couple of these a second time. I know this probably isn't the way a lot of people stain, but it's my way, and it seems to work for me. Oh, that was actually pretty. The top turned out quite a bit more reddish than this, but you know, I'm not certain of the type of wood this is either. It may very well be different types of wood. It doesn't seem like that this is pine wood. It actually seems like it could be like a walnut or something. I was never able to find out any information on this, and I Google searched this thing every which way I could think of, you know, and I just didn't find anything on it. And if there was ever anything on it to indicate who made it, it's gone now, and probably has been for a long time. Yeah, this one's going to look quite weird because it's such a dark piece of wood to begin with. There's nothing I can do about it. Okay. None of the sides or any of that ever had stain on it, so all I done with them was take the sander and just kind of run them down and make them smooth, a little bit smoother. But as far as I could tell, they weren't ever sanded before, but they're sure sanded now. And the slide parts I went over with the sander, thinking that it might make them slide. But you know, that seems to be a problem with these old wooden dressers. The drawers never seem to slide that good. But you know, I do know that they actually there's a lubricant you can use on these, and I just, for the life of me, I don't remember what it was called. But anyway, I found that on YouTube, saw a guy doing it, and I don't think it was one of the big time YouTube woodworkers. So I'll have to hunt it down again, which I'll do that after we finish this video, I'm sure. Okay. Wow. Well. Okay. Well, pause the video for a couple of, well, what y'all are going to see in just an instance is going to be a couple of hours for me. I'm going to pause the video and let this stuff kind of soak in a little bit, and then we'll come back and we'll recoat them, and then we'll pause the video again and y'all see me with the spray on polyurethane, and then after we do that, that'll end the video. While you know, and then you'll probably see me wet sanding everything tomorrow. You know. Yeah, that's another thing about getting that super shiny finish. People talking about this really expensive tool made by a company called Fastenal or something like that. They're over there with like that stuff, polyurethane, lacquer or whatnot, just sitting there for hours, it seemed like, you know, cutting and polishing. I can do the same damn thing with some soap water and 150 grit sanding block. You know, y'all done saw some of that. Wait, had I urethane in the first video? Had I urethane the top and wet sanded it yet? No, I don't think y'all seen the top since it was wet sanded. Let me clean my hands real quick, and then I'll show y'all the top since it's been wet sanded. Okay, YouTube, that's the top. It has one coat of Minwax polyurethane, fast drying polyurethane, and well, let me start over. Start over with that. To apply that stuff and get it really smooth, you know, I've seen people put it on with a roller and just be like, oh, you can sand it down smooth. Well, yeah, no, you can't. Then I've seen people, I've seen people, people put it on with a regular old paintbrush and be like, oh yeah, you can sand it smooth. Yeah, well, maybe you can with that, but if you use one of these here soft foam paintbrushes and your wood's sanded good, you don't have a whole hell of a lot of sanding to do. I applied one coat of the urethane with the, well, not this particular brush, but one of its other. I think I bought like maybe three, and then I let it dry. And the next day I what's the word I'm looking for? Wet sanded it, and I just used a 150 grit sanding block, and then one 8-ounce cup of water with about 4 squirts of the purple power in it, because it's super soapy. And I've got a finish. You can see some texture in it, but yeah, it's so smooth. It's so smooth that you can't feel the texture. Although it's rather thin, and you can still I applied this stuff really thin, and then when I sanded it, it got thinner. You could actually kind of feel the wood in there in spots. But anyway, it's gonna get a second coat, and then applied with this foam brush, and then it'll be a heavier coat, and then it'll be wet sanded, and then it'll be finished, and then it'll look really nice. Although I really wished that mark wasn't there. I don't know what the hell that mark is. All the marks in the top, I didn't feel like sanding that much of it off to get those out. And I sure wasn't gonna attempt to use that stainable wood filler again. It's latex based, because I didn't want any more spots on it like that. I feel like I was pretty lucky hiding them as well as I did. But either way, it is what it is. Like I said, from what this started off as to what it's become now, besides a headache and a pain in my ass, I'm really happy with the way this is turning out. I mean, otherwise, if I hadn't gotten a hold of it and done the job that I've done to it so far, that thing would still be sitting over there in that barn out there on its side, all covered in soot and an old tin roof and dripping water on it. If I hadn't have gotten this when I did, another 10 years, there probably wouldn't have been enough left to even attempt to do anything with. So I mean, it is what it is. And I'm rambling again. That's something I said that I wasn't gonna do. Damn it. Oh well. All right. When we come back, we'll be doing the second coat of stain on the drawer fronts. Sorry about that, YouTube. I forgot to show y'all before of me staining the backsplash, but yeah, that turned out a wee bit darker darker than pretty much everything else. But then again, that was a really dark piece of wood, and I just couldn't sand it enough to get it light as nearly as light as the rest. But well, it don't look bad, so you know, there you go. Okay, we're back, YouTube. Let's go ahead and put the second coat of stain on this, and then we'll give it a little bit of time to, you know, soak up and do all that good static. Well, this wood being so dark, this particular piece of wood being so dark, and then that gold, it really makes that gold look a lot better. Well, see, I told you I'd make that mistake 2 or 3 times, YouTube. Sometimes this seems to darken the color up the way you want it, and sometimes it doesn't. Oh, okay. Whew. Thought I'd done rubbed a stain on my britches. All right, let's move over to the drawer fronts. Yeah, here we go, YouTube. I probably just colored my arm red. Okay. Now, on to this one. Thankfully, I've got that purple power to take the stain off of me. If I, you know, should get it on myself, that stuff, it'll take just about anything off. This particular stain, to me, it looks better on pine. I'm not entirely sure that this is pine or not. The grain just doesn't quite look right to me to be pine. And you know, that being so dark, I've never seen pine be that dark. I've seen it, you know, be out in the sun and get that dark, but then as soon as you hit it with a sander, it, you know, it goes back to either a whitish or a yellowish color, depending on what type of pine you're using. This may very well be pine. Okay, that's going to be that for that. Give that a little time to soak in, then we'll hit it with the spray on urethane. this little clip here is just mainly for my brother Ronnie. You know that wooden toolbox you got down there that got our brother Chris's name on the bottom of it. This is the one that I made in middle school shop class. And I don't remember a lot about it anymore, but that's it. It's all covered, dirty and covered in dust, dirt and dust now. So, but it looks okay. Anyway, there's that. That's that. A good carpenter could build that in 10 minutes or so. But you know, took us 6 weeks of shop class to do that. Alrighty, just wanted to show that. Okay, YouTube, we're back. We're ready to start spraying urethane. You know, I had something come to mind while I was outside shaking this stuff up. You know, this stuff's got a mixing ball in it, obviously to mix it up, right? Now, presumably, this is the exact same stuff that's in the normal, you know, paint can type container. It specifically says on that, do not shake it. But this comes with a mixing ball in there to shake it all up. So, you know, get in the comments and let me know what you think about it. And by the way, I did take this outside and shake it up pretty good. You know, just because, you know, not so I didn't make so much noise and racket. Alright, here we go, YouTube. Let's get started. When you're using this stuff, you want your work area to be as clean as possible, which obviously I failed in that department because even dust in the air sticks to this stuff. Yeah, I've learned that quite a few times the hard way. And even little bits of stuff in the air that you would most of the time don't even know is there, sticks to this stuff, and when it's dry you can feel it. My stepdaddy years ago, when they were still actually building houses and putting the trim in them and, you know, staining it and polyurethane it, he'd always get on us kids and tell us to walk softly and not to kick up no dust. I think we're gonna go over that again. That looks like it sucked it up pretty good. When this stuff dries, it'll have a bit of texture to it, and that's why we'll have to wet sand it. And then once we wet sand it, it'll be good, and we'll give it a second coat. You know, this stuff's so thin. When you're wet sanding it, you actually have to be kind of careful not to sand through it. When you sand through it, you're kind of done. Well, as Harry used to say, you kindly done shit in your mess kit. Ventilation in here, YouTube. We already know we're gonna have trash in it, so. Alright, YouTube. We'll be back with the outro in a minute. YouTube, y'all see that wall paneling that I flipped around backwards for the sides of this thing? Alright, YouTube, I appreciate y'all watching. If you kindly take the time to like and subscribe, I'd greatly appreciate it. And go ahead and leave a comment and share this video and all that good stuff. Alright, thank y'all for watching. Good night, YouTube.